Okay, if you've been following along with our Fargo build, we're turning that into a roll-off, and we had CNC dustless blasting sandblast our frame because I want that looking good. Problem is, the only reason I did that is because I wanted him to sandblast something else, and he says, bring that over to my place. I'm like, no, I've got two things for you to sandblast. So I got him to come to my place, which saves me a lot of time. But we're not gonna get him back to sandblast this frame because it's just a flatbed and parts of the roll-off assembly, because I don't think it's really worth it. So instead what we're gonna try and do is spend $40 on Amazon for this sandblasting pressure washer kit, because boy math tells you that if you just buy the tools instead of hiring somebody, it's basically free. Anyway, let's see if this thing is worth anything at all. Here we go. So we're just gonna hit this pressure washer and see what it is. So basically this kit comes with a hose that's connected to a tube on one end that goes in a bucket of sand. And then it connects to this wand, which goes in the end of your pressure washer. So as it shoots the water out, it siphons up some sand and blasts sand out. We got some extra nozzles, safety glasses, and even little handy dandy hose clamps to tighten it on. So it's not rocket science on how to do it, and it's hard to believe that that will do anything at all, but we'll see if it works. I'm curious to find out, actually. The reason I did the pressure washer is because it's kind of oily and crappy. We'll see if it takes the oil off. I kind of went with my descaler and knocked the loose stuff off. This thing I'm not too concerned about. This is the bottom of it. I'd like to knock all the loose stuff off and hit it with a coat of paint just to keep it in good shape, but it's already like 50 years old and it's doing okay. So we'll paint the sides to match the Fargo and then put a nice headache rack with stacks and stuff at that end. I don't want to spend too much time or money on it. So here we go. For the oil, we'll just grab a random pail. We're done with our Shell Pennzoil racing oil. So we'll clean this bucket out. We can stick the hose through here, or the tube through there in the hose. That is going to stay dry because with pressure washing, you don't want moisture in your sand because then it's not, like before it hits the nozzle, and then you want to add a boatload of water. It's complicated, but keep your sand in your pail dry and then soak the snot out of it with water in the pressure washer after. That's the order. One pail fits one bag pretty good. Nice. Pop the lidish on there. Stick that in there. Bring the pressure washer over. Okay, so that I'm genuinely impressed with. It looks really good. It looks no different than regular sandblasting. Now imagine we'll get some flash rust on this, and you can use Evapo-Rust or something like that to get that flash rust off, but I'm not that fussy with this. This is just a piece of industrial equipment. I just want to knock the grease and the paint and the heavy rust off so that the next layer of paint will stick and it will look good from 20-30 feet away. It helps with MTO inspections. It helps with getting it to pass safety, things like that. So it's worth the effort for sure. It's a nice hot day, so you get a little bit of very dirty water splashing back at you, because that's half sand, half water on my arm. But I am very impressed by this thing, and I'm going to keep using this thing for a bit. Yeah, wow. That's a well spent $40. I'm gonna keep going. So it was working great until all of a sudden it decided to stop, and the sand kept jamming up inside the hose, and I don't know why. The hose was dry and clean, so I shortened it, and that seemed to help quite a bit. And then I thought, well, maybe the sand was getting wet, and maybe instead of using the pail, I should use the bag and just poke a hole in the bag and stick the rod in the bag. And I did that, and that worked out pretty good, but the bag still changes shape. So Thinking about it now, I bought 4 bags of sand just to see how this worked, and it works pretty good. Now it's up to me if I want to keep going, because it's definitely not a professional job. It is not as good of a job as Chris would do, but that's not what we're after here either. But is it worth the time and the effort, keeping in mind you have to have water and a pressure washer and gas to run everything? So that plus the sand and your time, you gotta do a calculation. Is it worth it? Is it worth it for you? Now, small project, I absolutely recommend using this. It's nice and quick. It does make a mess, but it is contained more than the sand blasting if they come in your yard. That cloud seems to go everywhere. So once I figured out that, I kept going, and it worked pretty flawlessly after that. Okay, so that looks pretty good. It was 4 bags to do this entire thing, both sides, and only one side of this thing. Now you can see the flash rust that I was talking about, where the heavier rust was right here. You can see it's starting to turn brown already, but the rest seems to be okay. Like, it's not bad. So with the steel being slightly pitted and old, you'll never notice the paint on the layers of paint. And we're probably going to do some welding and stuff on this too yet. So we're going to splash some paint on there with a brush, more than likely. And we'll put these up in the air to sandblast those and flip it over. But once this piece and that piece are done, then we can start putting the mounts on the roll-off there. So I'm happy with it so far. I'm going to keep going, I think, because I'm already messy and I can get the sand in town. So I'm gonna go grab a bunch of bags and then carry on and see how much work this actually is, and see what the price is afterwards, and we can compare that to what was done in an afternoon on the Fargo itself. So yeah, here we go. Okay, so that was probably a couple hours and 9 bags of sand to do both sides. Now you can see the flash rust that I'm talking about. This one was drying. It was the first one that I did. You can see what it looks like after a couple hours. But a good rust paint doesn't even care about any of that. And again, this is a piece of heavy equipment. A couple other costs that you might not think about is you should buy a raincoat. If you don't have a raincoat, you get covered in crap, unless you have a pond to go jump in. If you don't have a raincoat or a pond, then you have to go to the laundromat in town and destroy one of their washing machines because everything's covered in sand, and sand kills everything. Sand destroys everything. It makes kind of a mess. The sand kind of stayed where the blasting was being done, but then of course the water runs downhill, and if you got neighbors in the middle of the city and stuff, they might not appreciate some of this. But I'm gonna go splash some paint on those. We still have to do this thing, so I did pick up enough sand for this, but before I do that, I'm just going to prep this thing a little bit. There's quite a bit of grease on it. I'm just going to scrape that away, and there's a steel plate on the bottom. I'm going to cut that away. I don't need to really paint anything on the inside. It's all greased quite a bit, and the paint's not bad, so I'm just going to hit the loose spots, knock it off, and then just do the outside so the outside looks good. But this is all going to be grease again, so there's no point in making more work for myself. But yeah, so that's it. I would highly recommend that. I think it's one of the best tools that you can buy. First tool that I bought was a pressure washer, and again, if you don't have a pressure washer, you can rent one from Home Depot or small other rental stores, United Rentals. So that's another cost, plus the fuel. I think it uses more sand than a traditional sandblaster, but again, if you have small jobs, you just want to touch up something, yeah, you can manage the flash rust. This is an awesome tool, so I really like it. I don't know, again, if you're a farmer or you have a business and there's an employee that you don't like, definitely put him on the job, because it's not a fun job. But I thought I'd try it out and see what it's like, and then give you my honest opinion. So my honest opinion would probably be, honestly, it's 10 out of 10. It does the job that it's supposed to do. Make sure that your sand stays dry, and it will absolutely take all the rust and crap and scale and everything off. So yeah, thanks for watching. We've got other tool reviews as well. If you like to do the welders or mechanics tools, stuff like that, we've got quite a few of those videos out, so definitely check those out. And we've got lots of build videos as well. We build everything on the channel. We're wrapping up a bunch of projects this summer and then starting a massive one next this fall. So thanks for watching, guys. And remember, if you're not filthy like me, obviously you're not rich. Here we go.